Good evening, friends, and welcome to our final interview of the day. Best for last. And we have got an amazing artist. Mr. Derek Hagen is in the house. He's he actually has met Cat Stevens. He's also had Big Love
Yeah.
or John Denver, and also Glenn Campbell, and a lot of those other guys. And when he sings, he actually sings a lot of their top songs. So we're gonna find out about that. And we're gonna find out about him, his amazing journey. He's been in the music industry over 30 years, and he's done some amazing things in the industry. So we're gonna find out about that as well. Special thank you to Stephen Brady and the Blue Shamrock record label for allowing us the opportunity to interview Mr. Darren Coggin. He's here. Again, our show is being brought to you by Music Dreams USA Radio. We play everything for everyone. Biker, Babe, Barber, and Company. When it comes to live, we have got you covered. Also, Table and Mike Productions, Eagle Street Corporation, and last but not least, OTW Hauling. They're up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. If you have a job, if you need some help, they can help you. This company goes over and above the call of duty to help their customers. Simply go to Facebook and look up OTW Hauling, and they'll be more than willing to help you out. Just let them know that you heard about the advertisement right here on the Artist Spotlight Show. And so, without all that being said, Mr. Darren Coggin, how are you today, my friend?
G'day, Russell. I'm very well, thank you, mate. Lovely to chat with you, and thank you for your time and your interest in my music. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you've got a very interesting career. We'll talk about that in a second. What part of Australia are you calling from?
I live in a beautiful little town in central New South Wales called Wagga Wagga is the name of my hometown. So yeah, it's a town that's in Australia renowned for huge sporting heroes. So a lot of our great Australian sportsmen and women, for some reason, come out of Wagga Wagga. There's something in that. There's a beautiful river that runs through our town called the Murrumbidgee River, and there must be something in that water because yeah, a lot of great cricket players, a lot of great rugby league, AFL players, um, hockey players have come out of my hometown. So I wasn't one of those. So I was it was my thing growing up. Music
I
was
hear you.
my thing, and but a great town for the arts as well. You know, a lot of growing up as a kid, there was a lot of opportunities, a lot of live music venues, a lot of places to play and kind of cut teeth and earn your stripes as a musician. A lot of other great musicians that you could hang out with and learn from. So a theatre community there as well. So yeah, I feel very privileged to have grown up in that town, and yeah, it's home. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: for our listeners who are watching now that will be watching later, um, who is Darren Coggin?
That's an excellent question. Uh, yeah, look, I call myself a writer when I travel, but I've been blessed with a beautiful career. In that career, I've had the chance to try a lot of different genres of music, a lot of different aspects of the industry. But at the heart of it, I guess country music, folk music has been my passion and what I kind of feel I do best. And I've sort of cut my teeth within the Australian country music industry, and I guess that's probably where I've found a home and most success over the years. But as you said, along the way, I've had the chance to, to play characters in music. I was in a couple of productions, big arena tours of the musical Grease. Played Teen Angel and Vince Fontaine in the musical of Grease, which your listeners are familiar with that musical. A couple of Australian musicals that I've been in as well, and some Australian TV shows as just doing straight acting roles. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed all of those experiences, and I developed these shows would celebrate more my heroes, my favorite artists that I like listening to and that I learned from. So they're not impersonations. I don't come out and pretend to be, so these shows, like I have one, as you mentioned, that's the music of Cat Stevens. I have a show that celebrates the music of John Denver, one that celebrates the music of James Taylor, Glenn Campbell. As I said, these are all musical heroes. And as I said, they're not coming out to be Cat Stevens or James Taylor. Just silly, because they only one. Obviously, there's only one of those guys. But I come and I celebrate their songbooks, and I celebrate their stories, and I just think all of those artists and those catalogs of music are deserved of remaining in the conversation of music, and certainly here in Australia, they've been very successful shows, and I think the fans of all these artists are just still so hungry for their music. They love to hear it played live again, and I really take a great responsibility in Rico, portraying these artists and performing their songs as accurately as possible to the original recordings, because the songs mean so much to their fans. They come out and they want to hear those songs as they know and remember them. So I've thoroughly enjoyed doing those shows over the last, probably the last 10 years. That's been a big focus of them. And those shows kind of married my musical theatre world with my country music world, I guess, or the songwriter world together in a way. So these shows are obviously about great singer-songwriters and great storytelling and great melodies, great songs. But I present them in a very, very theatrical way, in the sense that, the production elements, I've invested heavily in the production element, a beautiful string quartet with me on stage. And so I really try to do it and honor these artists in a way that hopefully they would be approving of. So that's kind of a very short version of where I'm at and what I do. But as I said at the beginning, the heart of it all for me is I really love to write my own songs. I feel I'm a singer-songwriter, and my own stories and my own observances I really enjoy communicating probably the most. So I've got a new album on the way. By the end of this year, it will be released, and I've released a couple of singles off that already. And this new song, which you're so kindly interested in, appreciate. First Light is the second single, and it's been a lot of so far. It's been great.
So, talk about your relationship with Cat Stevens. You actually had the opportunity to meet Cat Stevens, right? And so, talk to me about that experience. That had to be exciting.
It was amazing and very surreal, even as I recall it now. I can't believe it actually happened. But as I said, this show that I was telling you about. So I have a show that celebrates his beautiful songs, and we were performing the show in Melbourne, here at a theatre down there, the Athenaeum Theatre it was called. And Cat Stevens' nephew lives in Melbourne, which I had no idea. His name's Stephen Giorgio, lovely man. And he bought a ticket to the introduced himself. He was just so full for my interpretation of his uncle. And he said, "Listen, I'm going to go home and I'm going to phone him up and I'm going to tell him all about you." And he did. And in the next sort of few weeks, I started receiving emails from Kat, or Yusuf, as he's known these days, from Yusuf's older brother. He's his personal manager, Gordon. And to cut a very long story short, it ultimately ended up in an invitation to.
Wow.
He said, "Darren, are you in a position to come to Cat Stevens? Would love to." I said, "Well, I have a diary, but I'm pretty sure I'll be there." So it was a full experience for me, and I had 2 days there with him, a day with Kelf and another day with his brother David in London, and it was he was every bit as inspiring and just a lovely man, very encouraging. And we spoke about all different sorts of things. But I literally heard firsthand some of the stories that I've been able to share with our audience in that show. And he finally autographed all of the Cat Stevens albums that I'd brought over with me, and I was a real fan, and he showed me a high school that he founded in Queen's Park, where he and his wife founded this high school. And we went to lunch. We had fish and chips for lunch at this great little cafe down the street where he took me for lunch. He just held me spellbound as I just sat there, listening in a candy store, just listening to all of these great stories about his time as Cat Stevens. And he kind of talks about Cat Stevens as a character that he played for a while. He said he was very, very proud of the work that he did as Cat Stevens, but his life is moving in a different circle these days, and his faith is very important to him, and it's kind of the focus of where his work is at the moment. So it was inspiring, a very, very inspiring journey, and I'm very grateful for it. It was wonderful.
So spending the 2 days with him, what were some of your takeaways? And with those takeaways, I mean, how are you incorporating them into what you're doing today?
That's a great question. Probably the biggest thing I took away from that whole experience, and listening to him tell me about his journey of self-discovery, I guess, his journey of discovering who he is. I think what I took away from that was the notion that we all have the ability to change in life. We all have that same ability to, if we're not happy with who we are or we are in life, everyone can change, and I think every generation has the opportunity to make a difference to their world and to change their world. And I hope our generation has the courage to face up to the realities of our time, that we will hopefully leave the world in a better place for our children. And I think the underlying message that came through from that meeting with him, he's very invested in, I know a lot of his songs, as Cat Stevens spoke about them, all of those beautiful songs of his, they talk about, love and peace and understanding. And I think, those messages are so important in our world today, perhaps even more so today. They were first written back in the late 60s, the early 70s, when he was at the peak of his career. But I think, those messages are still very much about who he is and what he's about. And I can't speak for him, obviously, but his messages in those songs of understanding and tolerance, just so inspiring and really, they really resonate with me. And I think that, as I said, all those songs are deserving of remaining in the conversation. And his generation really, that resonates with them just as profoundly as they did when they were first written. So that's probably what I took away most of it, apart from it being an amazing privilege to sit down and talk with one of your heroes, and just to hear the stories about him during, with when he started out doing sort of opening sets for for Jimi Hendrix, and meeting all these great people along the way. And he was one of the first big, global artists that would play stage. At the peak of his career, he was the biggest actor on the planet, no question about it. So it was an incredible privilege. But that's what I felt. I just thought, wow, he changed. He got to a point in his life where I think his personal life was probably in a pretty dark place. I think as a pop star of the 70s, he probably indulged in all of the trappings of fame that were available to him. I think he was, all of the rock star. He obviously was on offer. So I think personally, his life was probably a little spiraling out of control. And I think in his mind, the way he could remove himself was to remove himself completely, where that's probably saved his life. So I remember thinking, yeah, what a courageous thing to do at the top of his career, when all of the adoring world was at his feet. He had all of he had money, success, wealth, fame. All of the trappings were his for the taking, and he reached the top of the mountain and sort of thought, wow, is this it? Is this what I've been working for? He didn't find fulfillment in those sort of things in life. So he started searching, a spiritual search for something deeper and more profound, I think, and ultimately he found it. And and I remember thinking, he was telling me that story. I thought, wow, what a courageous thing to do, to walk away from everything I guess you've thought we were chasing was the gold. To think, no, it's not really who I am or what I'm about anymore, and to leave it all behind was must have been a huge decision. But he didn't hesitate to make it, and I think that's the thing I find. And it's like, well, no matter where you are in life, it doesn't have to be in the music. If you're chasing something that's filling you, just change it, make a change, and try something different. And I think that's what I took away from it most.
Wow, what a great story. Thank you for sharing that. That was amazing.
That's
Thank you for
okay.
that.
Yeah, it was a privilege. I could talk about it all day. It was so cool. Very, very cool. Very grateful to have been invited to. It's lovely.
So let's talk about you. All right. Let's talk about your
Yeah,
album. You got a few songs on that album right now. You named one of them.
yeah.
So talk to me about how that album came about. Now, when you do your songwriting, is it based on experiences? Or I know some artists, they have like these computers, have all these words, and they kind of like mix the words to the beat of the music. Then you have other artists that write from personal experiences. What does your songwriting look like?
Yeah, it's probably the latter, really. I'm not overly disciplined in sort of getting up and making it a 9 to 5 job. I know a lot of songwriters do that, and I really respect that. Guys will clock on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll write for the day. And some days probably nothing comes of it. Other days there's probably lots of gold there as well. I've never really had that approach. It's always been inspired for me, or I think people that are kind of in tune with their own creative intuition develop like sixth sense of when things are around them. So, these ideas or lyrics or things just sort of floating in the ether. And I think when they're coming by, I think people that are sort of honing their craft on a creative level are able to recognize those moments and kind of grab them when they come past. So, I might be sitting having a drink at a bar or something, and someone might just say something or have a line that they just casually throw away and say, and go, oh, that's a cool line. So I know I would run in my little notebook, or these days, I guess on your phone, I'll just make a little note of it, and it will actually find its way out at some point. So all of the albums I've released over the years of my own have really developed that way. And as I've grown, my experiences have grown and changed. My children are all grown up now. When little, I was writing. I write a lot about family and my home life, and things that inspire me. And so my kids have always been a huge inspiration for me with my songs. And now our kids are all grown up now. They're adults now, and they're having their own experiences in life. And so, I could observe as well and try and at the end of the day, I think that all of my songs are just they're pretty positive, really. I'm really lucky that I've had a really great positive life, and I'm very blessed to to say that I'm very grateful for the life I've had. And so there's songs on there about life. There's some laments on there, but essentially there's a big chunk of me in all of these songs, really. But hopefully they're universal themes anyway. I think most people in life we're all very similar, really. We all put our pants on the same way as humans. We're all the same. So I think I try to convey that as well. That let's all try and bring people together and remind everyone to love one another. I think that's kind of our job as artists, is to hold up a mirror to each other and say, look, we're not so different from each other. Let's all get on with living together on this little flow base together. We're all the same at the day.
I couldn't agree with you more. And so, also, your daughter's been singing with you as well. So talk about that relationship and how has she grown into the
Yeah.
amazing artist that you are right now?
Yeah, she is an amazing artist. She really is. She's 22, just turned 22, and it's the maturity in her songwriting is. I mean, I know I'm a father. I'm very biased, I think, but I really think she's such a great young artist, and she's very in touch with her generation, a lot more so than I was. Like I was always, I think musically, I was always listening to music that was older than me. As I said, I was always into James Taylor and Cat Stevens, John Denver, those kind of artists. Paul Simon and Garfunkel. So musically, I've always been to the singer-songwriter and those sort of narratives. And she's a lot more in touch with her generation, and she's just got a beautiful voice, a really beautiful voice, and her songs are really mature. And yeah, I love singing. She did a show last night actually in Sydney. We were at Sydney, and she got me up to sing a song with her, and it's really just the highlight. I just love it so much when she gets me up to sing with her. And likewise, if she's around when I'm doing a show, I'll get her up to sing with me. And so that's a pretty special moment, which I cherish every time it happens. So yeah, she's a beautiful young artist, and yeah, you should check her out. She just released a new song called Fault Line, which is a great song, which is out kind of everywhere, streaming at the moment. But yeah, Olivia Coggan, check her out. I think she's going places, and I'm hoping to come along for the ride. I'll carry the bags. I'll drive the car.
She's gonna be my next guest on the Art Spotlight Show. We're gonna invite you and your daughter. We're gonna talk to Stephen Brady, and we're gonna have him arrange you and your daughter come on next time for the Art Spotlight Show. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I should love that. That'd be so cool. Yeah, that'd be very cool. Thank you.
So let's talk about you some more. So you've won the Toyota Star Maker earlier in your career, and you've also won 2 golden guitars. Talk about those awards, and
well,
what did they mean to you?
They're actually gold. No, they are guitar awards. Probably in Australia here, they're like the equivalent of kind of like the American Country Music Awards. It's the same sort of, nowhere near as big as the American Country Music Awards, obviously, but the same kind of level of prestige here in Australia. So the Golden Guitar Awards are a big country music artists, and I've won years, which has been lovely. I mean, my motivation for being a musician is not to win trophies. I don't think any artist, any genuine artist, doesn't go into a career in the arts or as a musician to win trophies. But I'll be honest, they are lovely when they come along. If someone, it's nice to get a pat on the back and to have your work recognized by your peers and by the industry. It is lovely. It's a lovely feeling. As I said, it's not the focus of what I do, but it is a nice feeling for sure. So yeah, when the awards come along, it's a nice acknowledgement. And the Toyota Star Maker Quest, I won that. That was what kick-started my career. A huge talent search, essentially. I was 22 years old at the time, and I entered this big talent search kind of the equivalent, like the American, the Voice and those kinds. It was like it was kind of like that, but not on television, obviously. But here in Australia, like a big talent, huge, big venue with a big audience and things like that. So yeah, I won that, and the prize was a record deal, and your kind of festival appearances, and they kind of send you on your way. And it was a wonderful experience that whole year. So yeah, so that's as I said, they're nice. They're nice when they come along, those things. But there's guys in Australia here, like so many great artists. Troy Casadale, I think he's on ours or something like that. Something ridiculous. I don't know where he keeps them all.
Wow.
He must just have a room of golden guitars. I'll show you what they look like here. That's it there. That's our award there. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So that's what they look like. Yeah, not real gold, unfortunately. I would have melted it down ages ago.
I was just going to ask you that.
No, I don't know what they're made out of, actually, but it's a nice award. It is a nice award. So yeah, that's what they look like. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll put that back there.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome.
That's cool.
So
yeah,
let's get back
here in my little music room.
So let's get back to John Denver, Glenn Campbell, and James Taylor. You've mentioned those artists during this interview this evening. What do you think for all those songwriters? What do they have in common?
Well, I mean, they're all great storytellers, and I mean, all amazing singers. Glenn Campbell, particularly, like I'm such a huge fan of Glenn Campbell's. In fact, my parents have got cassette tapes of me. Do you remember those cassette tapes? My parents have got cassette tapes of me as a little, as a cheeky little 4-year-old boy. They recorded me singing Rhinestone Cowboy when I was about 4 years of age, just mainly. So yeah, Glenn Campbell's music has always been a huge part of my, like, he was a great interpreter of songs too. I think, he wrote songs, but he mainly songs, and just was able. He just had a great intuition for a good song when he heard a song, and then he would record it and kind of make it his own. So yeah, so many great songs from Glenn, and a great too. I mean, I play guitar, and Glenn Campbell's guitar playing is just through the roof. and he was all self-taught, and just one of those gifted, just a gift that he had. So yeah, huge Glenn Campbell fan. John Denver, obviously, as well, a great singer, like just one of the great voices of our time. And again, a great guitar player, great songwriter. He's got some beautiful songs, obviously. So I think at the end of the day, they were obviously all great entertainers. Music and their voices, all they really spoke. They spoke to a generation. The whole generation. It resonated with them, and I think people hope, and their songs carry. They nurture you through life. They're there in the tough times. If you're having a rough time in life, those songs will lift you up. And if you're having great times, your songs are there for the celebratory times. I just think those kind of artists are rare. But yeah, John Denver and Glenn Campbell, two of probably my all-time favorite two country artists by far. Yep.
No, you've been on record stating that when you sing their songs, that you're definitely not impersonating what they're doing. You're actually taking their songs and you're singing to the best of your ability, to keep that the memories of those songs, keep them in place. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Mate, sorry. Could you repeat that last question? Sorry, mate. You just dropped out.
Yeah, no problem. So you were on record stating that when you sing those songs, from John Denver, James Taylor, and the other artists that you referred to during this interview, you've been on record stating that you're not impersonating them when you sing those songs, that you're
Yep.
actually, you know, you're actually singing those songs to the best of your ability, to keep the memories alive of where those songs actually came from. Can you tell us a little bit more
Yep.
about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's always my focus. I mean, I've been a huge fan of, kind of impersonators. All due respect to guys that can do that, but I always find, I mean, what these shows are, I want to celebrate the music. So I find those artists that I can recreate those songs accurately. Like I think that the timbre of my voice, the style of my guitar playing, the style of my own, craft that I've nurtured, those songs pretty accurately in a way that people will come along and will go, oh wow, that's kind of like that sounds like Cat Stevens, or that sounds like Campbell, John Denver. So it's not, it's foolish to think you're ever that person, because there's only one, there's only one original. But I think the idea of celebrating that artist is more appealing. The idea of not trying to get out there and say, hey, I'm John Denver, everyone knows you're not John Denver, he said, but I think coming out there and honoring that artist, I think that's more appealing to me. It's a way that I can honor them and I guess thank them. Not that I've no, I did meet Glenn Campbell. I did some shows with Glenn Campbell. I was his support act here. Glenn Campbell toured Australia a lot, and one of the tours he came out here in 1998, I think it was. I was lucky enough to be his opening act, so I did get to know and meet him on that tour, and it was an incredible thrill night. Just incredible. He was in a really good place at the time too. I know he had his demons throughout his career, but when I worked with him, he was in a really good place. He was really happy, and his life was in a good place. So I felt lucky to have seen him then, and to hang out with him. He used to watch me from the side of the stage. I'd come out and open up the show, and do my little 45-minute acoustic spot at the top of the show, and he would stand in the wings of the theater. I would often look across, and there was Glenn Campbell watching me. And I was like, oh my goodness, excruciating. No pressure, but yeah, he was a great man. So like there's a certain part of me that is so grateful for those experiences, and I guess doing these shows is a way of me honoring those experiences and just saying, hey, these are the greats of our time. All of these artists, there'll never be another Glenn Campbell, John Denver. These guys are once in a lifetime act, and they changed the world. Their music spoke to millions of people all over the planet, and inspired lots and lots of other artists, including myself. So yeah, that's the approach to the song. But the way I want to present these shows is I really want to do them properly. I really want to honor them. I don't want to just get up there with a whole bunch of backing tracks and stuff. So I've got a beautiful, as I said, beautiful live musicians on stage, a string quartet, beautiful piano player, a lovely band with him, and dress the stage really nicely so people come in and they walk away going, wow, that was maybe that's what it would have been like to have seen these guys. Not saying that I'm replacing them or anything like that. Obviously that's crazy, but just to honor them in a respectful way that I think their fans would appreciate and walk away going, yes, it made me feel good. I had people say that. I've had people come to my shows and then send me messages saying, hey, those songs, those records got me through a rough time in my life, and seeing your show was some kind of like therapy session. It all came out again, like hearing those songs again, because that's what music does. They're kind of like, these songs are kind of like bookmarks in our lives. I think, you know, and each time we hear them, they all of these memories and through time. Yeah, whether the song is, whether the memory is about love or whether it's about heartache or whatever the emotional connection is to the, it's as if the song had been written especially for you. It's like, you know, John Denver wrote this for me. He's singing about me in this song, and I think that's the gift of a great songwriter. Is they, you know, you and I can have this. We can enjoy the same song for completely different reasons, but get the same amount of enjoyment out of that song. You know, your interpretation of it can be completely different to mine, but they're both correct and they're both right, and we both find, you know, fulfillment in that song. That's a great song that can do that, and I think all of those artists have that in common. Is their entire catalog does that. It speaks to millions of people, and we all feel like they're speaking straight to us. That's a gift. That's incredible. Yeah.
You know, you've had such a magical career, and you said that earlier in the interview. You love every minute of it. You're, as you said, you're over 30 years in the industry, and you know you've met people, and so here's my question to you. Now, you've performed at some of the some amazing venues, right? One of them being the Sydney Opera House. All right.
Yeah, I have.
Now, is there one stage that you remember
Yeah.
walking out and thinking, "How did this kid from Wagga Wagga get here?"
Yes, there's a few actually. There's quite a few stages like that. Happens to me a lot. Uh, Recently, well, it was 2000. The Sydney Opera House is definitely one of those times. That's one of the world's great venues, and I've been there a few times now over my career, and every time is just a great privilege. You know, you walk out there and you think, wow, I'm, you know, one of the world's great venues, and I'm here again. You know, how but there was one that comes to mind recently. Well, it was 2017, the Cat Stevens show that I have. We had the chance to do of the UK, and we played 17 theatres across England and Scotland and Wales. And one of the shows, it was actually my birthday. September 1st is my birthday, and we were in Glasgow, and we were playing the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall. And I remember walking out on that stage on the day of my birthday, and it was packed. It was absolutely chock-a-block full of people. Well, to start with, backstage, I was sitting in the dressing room, and around the dressing room, they've got photographs of other who have played in this beautiful theatre over time. You know, and there's pictures of all of the greats. There's pictures of Paul McCartney and, you know, all of these incredible artists who I've looked up to and admired over the years. And I remember just thinking, wow, like here I am sitting in the same dressing room that all these guys are in. And then I walked out on stage and we had a great show. And at the end of the show, I just casually mentioned, you know, this is the greatest birthday present I could ever have wished for, to be here in Glasgow, to play to, I think it was like 1,500 people who were there at the show. And I got a huge standing ovation at the end of it. And I was really emotional. I said, this is the greatest birthday ever imagined. Thank you so much. And the entire me, happy birthday.
Well, there you go.
It was so cool. It was very cool. But yeah, I've been blessed to, I often think of that actually when I go onto stages. I mean, those grand stages, most definitely. I stand on the stage just before the show. I make this, I go out for the sound check, you know, and I'll stand on the stage and just look around and just really feel myself grounded onto that stage. And I just always think, imagine the volume of artists that have walked this stage and performed on this same stage where I'm standing right now. And I think about that a lot because I honestly think there is an energy spirit that those performers leave behind in those rooms and on that stage when they've given, you know, they've given their all. to their performance. You know, they've sweated on that stage. They've sung. I believe that stays in that space. That stays in that stage, in the bones of that theater, of that venue. And so then when I had a chance to go and stand in that same spot, I really feel like that it becomes part of your performance as well. And then you leave something else behind for the next person. So I feel that. I know that sounds all kind of unicorns and rainbows, but it really does feel like each time. And I really make a point of just thinking about the volume of incredible performance that must have trod this same thing. And it's a very humbling experience. You just feel grateful. You think, wow, I'm so lucky to do this. It's really great.
You're blessed. That's for sure. Here's another question for
I
you.
am.
So tell us.
Yeah, no question.
So let me ask you this. All right. So let me ask you this. All right. Always Believe in Love, one of your latest songs. Where did that song come from? And why was that the right time to return the original music to it? So kind of like walk us through that process.
Yeah, this song, well, speaking of gifts, this song was a gift for me. There's no question. This song wrote itself in a way that I've never written a song before. In a very, very intense dream that I can still recall. I can see it so plainly now talking about it. The dream was I was performing on stage. I don't know what it was. I'm not sure where it was, but I was on the stage and I picked up my guitar, put on my guitar, and I just started playing this melody. And it was to me as if I'd known it my whole life. Just started playing the song. And then the audience started singing back to me the chorus, or the hook line of this song, which is always believe in love. And they kept singing that back to me over and over again, as if they'd known it their whole life. Like it was already a big hit. And this song I was just playing it. It was like it was a big, the big finale of my show. And I remember waking up from the dream thinking, what was that? And it's unusual that I wake from a dream because I am a deep sleeper. When I go out, I'm out. I don't normally wake at all. So for me to wake up in the middle of the night is actually quite rare. And so I woke up with this very clear vision of this song. And I just went to my little music room, the room I'm in here now, actually, and grabbed my phone and my guitar, and I just sang this melody, played it like straight away, knew exactly what to play. And sang this melody, always believe in love, over and over again. And I turned the phone off. I went back to bed, and the next morning I got up and I was so excited to kind of listen to my phone to see if what I had sung made any sense, or if it was just a whole lot of nonsense that I'd sort of dreamt up in my half semi-conscious state. But here it was. I couldn't believe it. Here was this fully formed melody and this lyric. So I then spent the next couple of weeks really obsessed with this song and then writing it kind of proper, I guess, like filling out the verses. And but essentially, yeah, the nucleus of the song was all there. And yeah, that's never happened to me before. I've heard of other artists that has happened to, similar sort of things. But for me, that was the first time. And yeah, it just felt great. It just felt really positive. And, that sort of mantra of, just believing in love. And, I get quite, I struggle to watch the news, daily news, to be honest with you. It just really frightens me, some of the things that are happening in the world. And so I just really wanted to make a positive song that hopefully spoke to people and just reminded everyone to love one another and just be kind to each other. I really think it's that simple. Yeah.
And in 2026, you released another album, and it was called Another Breaking Wave. Talk to me about that album.
Yeah, that's the album that's about to come out. So that's just been finished. The album's ready to go. Just getting sort of artwork and getting done. And I'm going to be releasing it on vinyl, which I've never been released on vinyl before. This will be my first time in my 30-year career, because vinyl's all back again, which is great. Huge fancied myself been on a vinyl. So I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping that it'll be out before Christmas, before the end of the year. It's literally ready to go. So I'll Always Believe in Love is on that record, and this new song, First Light, is on that as well. They're the first two singles off this record. So yeah, I'm really proud of this album. It's I know all artists say that their latest album is their best work, but it always is. Of course it is. This really is the best songs I've written. It's the best I've sounded, vocally. I think all of those experiences talked about have led me to this place in my life, and I'm grateful for it. And I think I'm playing as good as I ever have, and singing as well as I ever have. And my life experiences have been rich, and I like to share that, and hopefully people will resonate with these songs, bring them a lot of joy. That's the end of the day. That's kind of our mission, I think.
So since we're talking about the album, what chapter of Darren Coggin do you think this record represents?
Wow, you've got great questions, man. Very, very good questions. Great, really good. What chapter does this represent? Well, it's a new chapter, really. It's an exciting new chapter, because as we've spoken about, probably the last 10 years or so of my and will continue to do. They will continue to be a part of my life, these shows. There's something extra kind of gratifying about producing something of your own, I think, and offering a piece of yourself to the music world. There's something great about that. This is all me. Here is me. It's terrifying at the same time, because you're really opening yourself for people to tear you down, really, to criticize. That's essentially what you do. You put yourself out there and go, okay, come in. But there's something really, really kind of great about that. So it's an exciting new chapter for new songs, and hopefully, a chance to connect with originally started back when I won that Toyota Star Maker Quest as a singer-songwriter, and that's always been the dream. And along the way, life's not a straight line. There's twists and turns all over the place, and I've just always kind of gone with those turns, and just sort of I've always said yes to everything, and just sort of see where it might lead. You never know. Things might take you in life. I've never really been a guy that's had a plan. I guess I have. I've always wanted to be a performer, and I've certainly done that, and I've certainly had so many amazing experiences just through following opportunities that have come my way and just saying yes. And even at times when I've said yes and I've gone, I have no idea what to do. I've just gone, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, so a new chapter, and hopefully a very exciting, rewarding, and let's hope for that.
Earlier in the interview, we talked about you 30 years in the business. But here's my question, though. You've had, the writing's on the wall. You've had a magical career. People would die to have the career that you're having right now. They give anything. But here's the real question, though. Think about when the music first started, when you first got into the music industry, right? Think about when you first started to where music is right here today. What are your thoughts about that?
Right. Okay. My honest thoughts are, I think there are so many great new musicians today. Like I see my daughter, for instance, is a great example, and the people that she is mixing with, and her peers of her age, they're incredible, and they're really, really talented, and they have a lot to say, and they're really mature for their age, a lot more mature than I was at the same age. The thing that I find very frustrating, and I don't know how they navigate it, I just find that social media thing, man. I'm not a big fan of social media. I really detest it. Actually, it really annoys me. I find that the young artists have to do so much more of their own. It's all about trying to keep their, keep these posts up and keep the likes happening and creating content that's just not even about the music. Like, it's about what food they're eating on the day and all this kind of nonsense that seems to generate interest, which baffles me all the time. Like, I can never figure that out. But I guess, look, I know that's the world we live in, and that's just the way it is these days. But I really find that frustrating. I just think, I heard a story the other day where Bill was telling the story. I don't know Vince Gill at all. I'm a huge fan of his. I don't know him. I've never met him, but he was telling how he's been producing this album for a young artist, and she's really great. She's incredible. She's a great songwriter. She sings great. She's a great performer. She's got all of the goods there ready to go. He's produced this album for her, and he's trying to shop it around to get some interest from record companies. And he was saying that the record companies didn't even want to hear the record. They just wanted to know how many likes she had on her Instagram, how many followers she had. And I just think that's so absurd. I just can't believe that. Anyway, as I said, look, I'm a very small artist in the bit grand scheme of things when it comes to things like that. But a new artist starting out having to navigate that world, I think, is really hard, and having to continually be coming up, because to me, ultimately, it's from the actual craft. If you could be spending those hours working on your instrument or working on your songwriting, surely that's as an artist. But anyway, that's one of my little personal gripes. And the other thing that I find really disturbing at the moment is like nonsense. I just think it's just nice. Well, it shouldn't be called art. If there's going to be AI artists, and clearly they're here, and they're out there, little keyboard hackers. I think it shouldn't be called art. If that's it should be called, I don't know. It just should be called AI or whatever. I don't know what it is, but that shouldn't be lumped into the same category as someone who has, lived and worked hard at their talent and their craft, and have learned an instrument, or they've learned to sing, or whatever. That's art, and that's creativity. So this AI thing, it should be two different. It's chalk and cheese to me. I just find it. I find it quite disturbing that's. I find it disturbing that people are interested in it to begin with, because AI hasn't had its heart broken, or hasn't experienced extreme joy, or hasn't witnessed childbirth, or do you know what I mean? Like, there's no real life experiences in amongst that. It's just repetitive, just using data to carve up the same old stuff. So I think there's no real truly inspired stuff amongst it all. But I guess if people are into it, well, who am I to knock it, I suppose. But it doesn't do anything for me. But I just find, I think the one thing, though, that's what I keep telling my daughter. I said, the one thing that artists still have, which is unique to the human experience, is live performance. I said I would concentrate on making sure that your live act is so great that people walk away going, that was a great night. I felt something. Because humans are humans, like, I think the whole foundation of the human race is about connection. We're meant to talk to each other. We're meant to be with other people. We're meant to connect and experience these things together. So togetherness, bringing people together, that's what well. And I think, you can be in a stadium full of people seeing your favorite artist, and you're all there together. You're all there for the same love. And that's something really great about that. And I think so. I think that immediate interaction between a performer and the audience, that conversation that comes back 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is, that's something that's still, you can't touch it. You can't replicate that. It's just, it's in the moment and it happens right. And it's spontaneous and it's beautiful. It's really great. You feel something, you laugh, you cry, you know, you could be standing next to a complete stranger, but by the end, you know, your best mates, you know, you've experienced something together. So I think live music is something that should be really treasured and held on to. It's almost sacred, you know. So yeah, that's a very long answer to your question. Sorry, but it has changed. Yeah, the music industry, no doubt, the landscape has changed enormously. You know, amongst all of that, though, there are so many great. That's the thing. That's my point. There's just as many incredible new artists today as there always has been. There's always great new artists coming through. I just hope they don't get lost in the noise. I hope they can break through all that noise and their talent. You know, I think if you're really good, you'll have your day in the sun. You know, at some point, keep at it, keep showing up, just keep working on your craft. You can't be good and not have your time, I don't think, at some point, you know. And whether that's I think the other thing is to be, you know, fulfillment doesn't have to be, this gets back to the Cat Stevens story, really. And I guess what I took away from that experience, fulfillment doesn't have to be fancy cars and, you know, golden guitar awards and, you know, a big house with a pool or anything like that. That's not necessarily success. You know, fulfillment in music can be literally singing your song to someone who comes up to you after the show and says, "Hey man, you've just made my day." You know, that just really spoke to me. That's a magic feeling, and that's reward. That's serious reward when you're making a difference in someone's life. I think you have to pay the bills. Obviously, everyone's got to eat, and we've all got to pay the rent. So yeah, that needs to happen. So I hope today's artists can have that and can cut through all the noise and be seen for the great artists that they are, you know, developing into, and they can have a career. Longevity is the secret, hopefully.
Speaking of, let's talk about your longevity in your career. We're going to go back to your amazing career, and wow, you know, I tip my hat for all you've done. But you know as well as I do, you know, there had to be some bumps in the road during your career.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about those bumps in the road. I mean, did you ever come to a point in your careers like you got just so frustrated, put your hands up in the air, like I'm out, I'm done? How I mean, if that ever happened, what gave you the perseverance to continue to do what you actually love to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've just said it there. It's what I love to do. I mean, I have no I have no other skills. I can't do anything. I'm useless at everything else. You ask my wife. My wife, every time I bring out a hammer at home here to fix something, you know, I go, "Oh, I can fix that." And she goes, "Are you sure? Should we not call someone? We should call someone who knows what they're doing." So yeah, no, that's all It's all I've ever done. But there absolutely has been many times when those thoughts have gone through my brain. Or, you know, when you're playing a show, particularly when you're starting out, you know, and particularly in Australia too. Australia's known for being overly supportive of the arts. You know, we're a big sporting nation. We love our sport, which is great. I love my sport as well. I love following my favorite footy team and all that. But quite often when you start in Australia, particularly as someone like myself, you know, plays guitar and sings, usually you would start in the pubs, the pub scene here, the hotels, I guess, you know, the pub scene in Australia. And, you know, you're normally shoved in the corner. You're underneath a Kino screen of, you know, guys there playing, you know, watching or you're underneath a screen of near the poker machines or something like that, and you've got to compete with all of this noise that's going on, and guys there who don't really, no one's really there to see you for a good night. So that, when you're starting out, can be incredibly discouraging. You know, to be heard amongst all of that other noise is hard. I've never really played in the US before, but I've heard stories where it's the opposite. You know, like if you're performing in a venue in America, people will be listening to you. They'll sit and they'll stop and they'll listen, which is incredible. That's a gift. You know, I would, you know, starting out as a young artist, to have that would be amazing encouragement. But yeah, here in Australia, not so much. It's very hard in Australia to be heard. So to keep turning up and slowly work your way out of that into a place where you can sell tickets, perhaps, to your own show. Small venues, people will then start to come to see you. That's when it starts to you know, the ball starts to get rolling. But yeah, there's been lots of times when I've been on stage, you know, and you've got some drunk guy coming up to you, and you know, he's touching the microphone, he's yelling something in your ear or spilling drinks on you. Yeah, there's so many times. Oh man, what am I doing? But at the end of the day, it's I think what you said before, it's what I love. It's what really, you know, I don't love that experience, but I love music enough to, you know, to weather those times, to come out of it and say, oh well, that was just a really night. I'm gonna go, and our next one will be better. So you know, there's always the day. But yeah, no, lots of times. Yeah, there's times, and there's other times too when you get let down. You know, obviously I've had experiences, you know, and everyone has similar stories, I guess. But you've got people that supposedly are invested in you, like, you know, managers and agents and, you know, record companies, people that you think on your team, you know, that are invested in you as an artist, but they're really not. You know, you're part of their roster, and they'll find a place for you where you sit, and they can kind of, you know, manipulate who they want to rise to the top and things like that. That's a game that continues to be played, I think. And when you're young, you know, the idea of you know, a record company sort of waving the record contract in front of you is the carrot. You know, that's the dream. I've made decisions in my career that have been terrible decisions, and, you know, done things, burned a few bridges that I regret. You know, there's been people along the way that know I've hurt as a result of chasing this dream. So yeah, I do have regrets along the way, that are things that I've done that I would do differently. But it's, you know, life throws those things at you, I suppose. And I guess the challenge is to try and just learn from those experiences where, you know, it hasn't been great, and move forward, and doesn't happen again, I guess, is the way to do that. But yeah, it's not always great.
So, you know, let's talk about your biography. All right. Is there something in your biography that's not in there that you maybe would like to share with our audience?
Well, I just specifically, I remember the first time I got cast in a musical. It was Happy Days. It was the Happy Days, a musical of the TV show Happy Days, you know, with the Fonz and Richie Cunningham. I got cast as Richie Cunningham. It's the only time my red hair and freckles have done me any good, I think. But but I got cast as Richie, and it was incredible. It was a huge arena musical in Australia, and like the guys, like Henry Winkler was actually part of the production. He came out to Australia. I got to meet the Fonz. I got to meet Henry Winkler and hang out with him. He was so great. What a beautiful man. Just a really lovely, kind, gentle man. and very encouraging. The first day we met him at the rehearsal, he was walking along everyone, and he came to me and he said, "Hey man, you got Cunningham?" I said, "Yes, I am." So that was great. Tom Bosley as well. He's sadly passed now, but he was involved in that production as well. Mr. C from the original TV series. So that was the very first big break I got, big opportunity, got cast in that as one of the lead roles. And, we were walking out on stage in front of 10,000 people each night in these huge arenas here in Australia with a great list of, celebrities, really. A lot of great Australian celebrity TV celebrities and music celebrities were cast in that. And then little old me. So it was that was an incredible part of my life, a real highlight. I remember it because it was the first time someone, gave me a huge break. I went from, playing in little pubs like we were talking about before to all of a sudden, bang, I was one of the lead roles in this huge production that was touring Australia, rubbing shoulders with all these greats. So yeah, that's a moment in my bio that I treasure for sure.
Awesome. One more question before we go to rapid fire. So, what's next on your bucket list that you haven't checked off yet that you want to accomplish?
Okay. Oh, I could. I would love that so much. I've got some friends who have moved to Nashville, now live in Nashville, and great work are there. And they're all encouraging of, Darren, you should come over. I've never been there. I know I would fit right in. I just know I would feel very much at home there. So yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to perform, Nashville or, anywhere in the States. It'd be great. And I'd love this next record to find its home. I would really love it. I've never really, I'd love to have the gold record hanging on the wall. That would be very, very cool. So, but that's a dream I've always had to have that kind of, to have that volume of people enjoy what you do would be a great thrill. So yeah, that's a couple of things I'd love to do. But look, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm 50. The fact that I can still earn a living doing what I love to do is great. It's a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. That's all I've ever done since I was, since I left school. I've had a career as a musician, and I've help along the way. My wife has certainly kept our family afloat on the years that haven't been great, where there hasn't been a lot of work or things haven't gone to plan, or I've invested in music projects that haven't worked. So yeah, it's not a one-man show. It's very much a team, and my family have been very supportive. My mum and dad are very supportive of my career still to this day. So yeah, I haven't done it on my own, that's for sure. But yeah, so I'd love to just continue to do what I do, to earn a living as a musician, particularly in Australia. I think I'm very, very lucky to be able to do that and still come home overnight and hang out, with my kids, and it's great. That's a cool thing as well. So yeah, just grateful to be able to keep doing it as long as I can, because I don't know how to do anything else. So I keep telling you that I got nothing else.
I'm like you. My girlfriend gets mad at me because I keep on telling her I'm not a handyman, and
No,
I
me
mean,
either.
I've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am
No.
not a handyman.
No, I admire those guys. I love those guys that can go, oh yeah, man, we'll just chip this off here and we'll do this, and we'll just go to the shop and get this. And oh man, if anything with a screwdriver, I guarantee you it will turn out worse than it originally began. Terrible.
I keep on telling her, put me on stage, let me talk. I'm at home.
Yeah.
But that's not
that's
working. It's not working. So before we
Uh,
go to rapid fire, all right, I know we talked about, well, first and foremost, I mean, we're bringing you and your daughter back for part two. I'm telling you, I'm going to talk to Stephen after the show, and I'm going to say, we need to bring those guys back. But before we do that, and before
okay,
we go into rapid fire, which is a part of the show you're going to love, trust me. Any final thoughts you want to share with the audience?
okay, okay. Ah, look, man, I just thank you for your time. Really, this has been great. What a great chat. We've uncovered a lot of things that I haven't thought about in a long time. So it's really been a lovely chat. And look, the news. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it gives you a lot of joy. The new song "First Light" is out now, streaming, and yeah, you can find me on digital platforms with my music and my website, darrencoggin.com. If you want to check me out further or stay in touch, that'd be great. But yeah, thank you for your time.
All right. And thank you. And now it's time for the rapid fire brought to you by OTW Hauling. And again, if you have any hauling needs and you make some big jobs, we just talked about it. And you'll go to Facebook, check out OTW Hauling. And no job is too big for them. And they go over and above the Call of Duty. So thank you guys for supporting this portion of the show. They're up in Myrtle Beach where we're broadcasting live. And so, all right, Mr. Darren, here it comes rapid fire. All right. The first one, country or rock and roll?
Oh man, so, country.
All right. Acoustic guitar or full band?
Ooh, I'm gonna go acoustic guitar.
Studio or live stage?
Stage, no question.
All right. A small, intimate theater or a massive concert hall?
They're both great, but there is a. I'm going to go a massive concert hall. There's something magic about all of those people together at the one time. That's pretty great.
Now, this next question may get you in trouble. I forgot to tell you when you come to our Spotlight show, expect the unexpected. All
Okay.
right, here it comes. All
Okay.
right. All right. You have to choose one or the other now. John Denver
Okay.
or Glenn Campbell.
Ah, come on. Oh man. It's too. It's like choosing your favorite child. How do you? Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to go Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell. But
All right, we're
but
gonna give you a chance to
yeah.
we're gonna give you a chance to redeem yourself. Here comes another one: Cat Stevens
Okay.
or James Taylor.
This is impossible. Do you know what? I'm actually going to go. As much as I love the Cat Stevens, and I had that experience with him, James Taylor is he's probably my all-time favorite songwriter, without a doubt. Like just Taylor, he is just one of the greats. I'm going to go with James Taylor on that. Yeah.
All right, it's time to pick the song that you love the most. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
You said that with hesitation.
Oh, you want me to say? Oh, sorry. Are you going to give me a song to tell you what my
I'm
favorite
going to
song
give you
is?
choices. All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Country
great.
Road,
Yeah.
Country Roads, or one of my favorites, Rhinestone Cowboy.
Yeah. Rhinestone Cowboy for sure. I love. They're both great songs, obviously, but yeah, Rhinestone Cowboy. That's a great song. So great.
All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night Owl. Definitely Night Owl.
Are you coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. This next one is kind of controversial. It's going to be a controversial choice here, but you have to make a choice. Australian barbecue or American barbecue?
Australian barbecue. I have to.
Beach vacation or mountains?
And I love the snow.
Okay. Would you rather perform at the Sydney Opera House again, or maybe make your debut at the famous Grand Ole Opry?
Oh wow. Yeah, I'd have to say the Grand Ole Opry there. That would be an incredible honor. Yeah.
All right. If you have dinner with one musician from any period in history, who's it going to be?
Far out. Do you know what? I'm going to say Paul McCartney. I would love to meet Paul McCartney, and I just love to hear him tell me all about those adventures they must have had as the four of those guys.
Got you. All right. What is one album that you could listen to for the rest of your life?
Wow, there's lots of I could listen to actually Sweet Baby James by James Taylor is one of those albums for me. Just so great. Such a great record. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Sweet Baby James Taylor.
What is one song you wish you would have written?
There is a song again by James Taylor. Actually, there's two. There's well, this one by James Taylor is called "Close Your Eyes." I used to sing that song to my children when they were little, going to sleep. Little lullaby. It's just a beautiful song. I know much. It really speaks with me. I wish. Yeah, I mean that's a gift. That song and that one. And there's a Cat Stevens song as well called "Oh Very Young." That I absolutely love. I think that song is a beautiful melody and a great message. So yeah, those two are my favorite songs of all time.
What's the first concert you ever attended?
First concert, John Denver. Would you believe? I was 13, and John Denver was touring Australia, and my mum and dad took my sister and I from Wagga Wagga, where I lived, to Canberra, which is our nation's capital. And we went to Canberra to see John Denver live at Bruce Stadium. I'll never forget it. I was 13 years of age, and he filled that huge, big stadium full of so much love. It was, in fact, it was a real light bulb moment for me. I clearly remember sitting there in that audience thinking, this is what I want to, I want to make people feel the way he made me feel that night. And yeah, my world started turning in a very different way that night onwards. That's what I've tried to do ever since. So yeah, that was the first one. John Denver. How about that?
All right. A few more to go. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you live on stage?
Ah, the most embarrassing thing. I mean, it's well, actually, I do remember one time I was. It was up at Tamworth, which is with a kind of the Australia's equivalent to Nashville. It's a country music town, and the Tamworth Country Music Festival is a huge, big event. The national calendar here each year, and I had to perform at this big. It was a big concert. It was a big event. It was a whole lot of other artists. It was like 20 different artists on the one stage. All of the kind of movers and shakers of the industry were there. And anyway, I came out to sing, and I just trod on my lead, and the cord, the cable came out of my right at the start of the song, so I had to stop and put the cable back in, and then I started again, and then for some reason I did it again. It happened twice. I was singing and I just moved around and pulled the cable out like twice in the one song. That was embarrassing. That's a very, you know, that's a novice mistake. I shouldn't have made that mistake. I should have plugged it in correctly. So there was that. I'm sure there's a lot of refuse to resurface. I'm sure there's lots and lots of things, but that one does spring to mind. But
we can call that your safe answer.
yeah, that's it. I like your style. Yeah, I'm sure there's others. I'm sure there's others there where I just Anyway.
All right, here we go. Finish this sentence for me, okay? Music is blank.
Music is love.
All right. I'm going to finish with this, okay? Darren, you're coming all the way from Australia to Music Dreams USA Radio Studios, and we're located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You get off the plane, and I give you three choices: a guitar, a surfboard, or keys to a convertible. Which one are you taking?
I'm just gonna have to go with the guitar because it's I know I've got a friend. Then I can be anywhere, and I'll go with the guitar. In fact, though, if I had a convertible, I'm sure I'd have a lot of friends as well. But yeah, I'll go with the guitar though.
All right, so remember that last question because you're going to come to the States, and we'd love to meet you. So if you ever make it happen, you come to our Myrtle Beach studios, and we'll do this all over again. But that concludes our interview today. And what an amazing time! You rock, you rock.
Thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. It was a really great chat. Thank you so much for being so thorough and digging up all of that information. As I said, that's a real trip for me to relive a lot of that. So thank you. I really enjoyed it. Great questions too, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. We're gonna bring it back and tell if you just let other people know about who we are, what we do, that'd be cool. And as I told you, season 2 underway, and we're looking for sponsors. So hopefully, people watching interested, they'll get an idea of what we do. But thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for, man, you're amazing. So we'll talk to you soon, I promise.
All right. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you, sir. All right. Darren Cogan, what an amazing interview we just had with him. And I promise you, we're going to bring him back. We're going to talk to Stephen Brady. Special thank you to Blue Shamrock record label. Oh, hey, Darren, I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
How did you and Stephen Brady get together with Blue Shamrock record label?
I've known Stephen for a little while. He's been around the Australian music industry for some time, a long time, and has been in the business of sort of distributing independent artists and supporting their music for a long, long time. So yeah, he was an obvious choice. I reached out to him actually and said, "Hey, can you help me with this new release? I've got this slight that's out at the moment, and I just love your help. If you can try and help me get it out there, and approach great people like yourself, Russell." So he's been really great. He's been doing that for a long time. So it's always great working with Steve. He's a good man.
Awesome. Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide. We play everything for everyone. Biker Bay Barber and Company. When it comes to live music, yes, we do got you covered. And you heard Darren talk about live music on the stage during our interviews. So I'm sure Biker Bay Barber and Company, they love hearing you say that, Darren. They love hearing you say that. OTW Hauling, if you got a big job, make sure you give those guys a call. Because as we mentioned, Darren or myself, we're not handymen, but OTW is Hauling. Check them out on Facebook, OTW Hauling. They've got you covered. And Table and Mike Productions, and last but certainly not least, Eagle Street Corporation up in beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. It's your friend Russell K, wishing you and yours a very pleasant good evening. Thank you so much for watching the Artist Spotlight Show We'll see you again soon, right here on Music Dreams USA Radio. Good night, everyone.